So you asked me for 5 topics that maybe I'm worrying about. And so one of the things that has upset me is I'm an astronomer. And in the last 10, 15 years, we have discovered that most of the universe is made of dark matter and doesn't emit light. And so astronomers are the wrong kind of people to understand the universe. And so I make an analogy between that and what I call dark culture, which is we have all these systems to tell us what's going on, but almost all the interesting stuff is dark and certainly doesn't reach universities. Popular culture is full of innovation today, but all our institutions are designed to see things that are invisible to them. So I think there's a deep problem both in terms of both of the simile. Now, in the dark culture, I also have an argument about data culture. I think we're going through a transition at the moment where the amount of sensory input we get through instruments is now exceeding that we get through our senses. And I think this is a new situation. Stiegler likes to talk about that we still tend to think of technology as tools or extensions of ourselves, but instead he says we need to think about these new technologies as organs that actually are symbiotic with our own development and not extensions of human faculties. And many of these tools now have senses that we don't have. And so I think this data culture and the dark culture things are two things that are maybe interlinked, but for me, make me worry. My other topics, one is transdisciplinary collaboration. All our institutions are set up to identify individuals and reward individuals. But all the complex problems we're working on now require groups of people to work together. We still give PhDs to individuals, not to teams. The Nobel Prize is still awarded to very few individuals, not to teams. And so how we change all our methodologies of how we train people, reward people to go from the individual genius, which is our model with Leonardo da Vinci, to how a team of people can display genius. And I think that's a tough problem, given the complexity of the problems that we're trying to solve. Another one, which is maybe, it's kind of obvious, but I think we haven't thought about it enough, is in our societies, and certainly in France and America, life expectancy has increased. And so I now have many colleagues who are still 80 and are still in full professional activity, but our universities want to have nothing to do with them. They close their email accounts, get them out of the office. And so one of the world's growing resources is retired professionals. In France, I was made to retire when I was 65. Well, maybe I still have another career ahead of me. And our societies are not organized. They're organized in youth cultures and so on. Anyway, so I think there's an interesting problem of how we change our social structures to make sure that we have intergenerational communication and discussion going on. The final thing, and many people have written about this, is it's clear that there are a number of things that are going on at the moment in the world which are happening quicker than one generation. In the past, when the climate changed, people moved. And the climate did not often change in 100 years. It happened over a longer period, and so people migrated to another place. Now, on our planet, we've migrated everywhere we can migrate, so there's nowhere else to migrate to except outer space, and I don't think that's a useful solution in the current situation. And so these changes are happening within a generation or 2 generations. And so we need to actually redesign our culture for a situation that no human culture has ever been before. Now, of course, when a meteor hit, it wiped out 90% of the life forms but most changes on this planet have been on timescales that are longer than 1 generation or 2 generations, except major wars, of course. And so how we redesign our culture. So my 5 topics are intergenerational communication, redesigning culture, dark culture, and data culture. Or maybe digital culture, but it's more complicated than that.